Alright guys, it's the Killer Nacho again. I want to do something somewhat special for my 400th battle, so I decided to ask my friend tuperiu5 to battle. He's an old friend of mine from Pojo, and he's a really great battler with really great YouTube channel. He's a funny guy overall. I'll leave the link in the description, make sure you check him out. Anyway, so this battle is like some mixed tier basically. We agreed to use 3 OU and 3 UU for Gen 5 in this battle. But anyway, I lead with my Maniac, which is a reference to one of my favorite games of all time, Wing Commander, or the Wing Commander series, one of my favorite game series of all time. Awesome if you played it. If not, well, shame on you. But he sets up Stealth Rocks with his Mammoth Swine. I just switch because I don't want to get like Ice Sharded, and I go out into my balloon thing, and he's going to switch into Vaporeon. I guess thinking I'll just go for the water move. I end up trying to go for the burn on the switch, and a burn isn't bad on Vaporeon since at least it gets constant damage on it. I go for the taunt. He tries to heal bail his burn away, but he isn't able to do that, obviously. So I go out into Rape, because Rape, rapes things, and yeah, so he goes Ice Beam, that's neutral against Rape, and that's rather whatever. He's probably going to switch here, so I'm going to take this time to go Stealth Rocks on the switch, and he ends up going into Nidoking, and yeah, I guess great minds think alike, because both of us brought a Sheer Force Nidoking, and Sheer Force Nidoking is a freaking beast, especially in UU. So obviously I don't want to take a Flamethrower to the face, so I go out into Balloon to take it, and he does end up going Flamethrower, which is pretty nice for me, except, this thing also has Thunderbolt and is faster. But I know Balloon is pretty damn bulky, so I thought I would be able to take this Thunderbolt, at least one of them, and I do, which is kind of good. So I get off the Scald, which is super effective against Nidoking, but obviously, because, this is a bulky thing, it's not going to KO, unfortunately. He lives with red hit points, and that's like, no, that sucks. So I'm like in yellow health, but I decide to switch out, knowing he'll go for a flamethrower. Sorry, a thunderbolt or an earth power. So I go out into Flygon, and he does go earth power, so that's not bad. I thought he'd be either used that one of the two. He ends up having the sucker punch, so it's a pretty cool thing on Sheer Force Nidoking. Yeah, it's physical, so he is actually like a mixed Nidoking, but he said he replaced Ice Beam with it, obviously, since he used Thunderbolt and Flamethrower. And that kind of does make sense, because Ice Beam is most useful against Dragon types, and honestly, most common Dragon types are going to be faster than Nidoking anyway. So I can see the logic of not having Ice Beam on your Sheer Force Nidoking. But anyway, so he sucker punches me for some damage. I kill him off, basically. And he goes back into this guy, and I go in my balloon to take the Ice Shard, but I'm not going to be able to take another one, unfortunately, because I was trying to recover, hoping he'd, switch or something, but he doesn't. He just finished me off, so that's a pretty good play. And that's, yeah, whatever. So I'm going to go out into Rape, and, yeah, so Rape is just going to go for the Leech Seed, because Leech Seed is a pretty good thing. I actually thought he'd switch. He ends up going for the Earthquake, which does decent damage, actually, to Ferrothorn. But now I get the Leech Seed on this Mamoswine, and he's probably going to switch now that he has the Leech Seed up. But at least I get, some Leech Seed healing, so that Earthquake doesn't do, too much, I guess. So that's not so bad. And yeah, I'm going to go for the, what's it? The Power Whip, that's what it is, Power Whip. Just because I figured, Power Whip will probably do some decent damage to anything on his team except for his own Ferrothorn, but I don't know why he'd go out into that. And he ends up going out into Chandelure, which ends up doing 25%, so including the Stealth Rocks, I mean, that thing is pretty darn weakened right now. So I switch, I go out into Virus, my awesome Porygon 2, and he's going to go for the Fire Blast, and I kind of figured he'd go either for the Will-O-Wisp or a Fire move, so that's a pretty good play for me, because I get the Flash Fire from Trace, and that does nothing, so that's pretty nice. Anyway, I'm going to go for the Discharge, just seeing what he'd do. He ends up going Pain Split, which is a pretty obvious move. I should have known that he had a Pain Split, but I guess not. Yeah, so Chandelure is one of those Pokemon that I see all the time, but for some reason a bunch of noobs don't realize that with its Dream World ability hasn't come out yet. It can't get Shadow Tag yet, but every time I see a Chandelure, it has freaking Shadow Tag because people like to put it on anyway. So this is actually a Flash Fire one, so that's pretty good. And that's just a side note. Anyway, he uses Curse, so now I have a Curse Afflicted. That's a pretty weird move, actually. I've never seen Curse used in competitive battles actually on a Ghost type, but it forces a switch, so it didn't do half bad, and it did some really nice damage to Porygon, too. Anyway, he gets, I go for the T-Wave, so he has a Paralyze set up, and he ends up not, I don't know what he'd even to do to Flygon anyway, but he ends up not being able to move that turn. probably he would have gone for the Plane Split. And that's pretty nice because now I finish him off with Earthquake, which is a KO. So obviously I can't keep Maniacing against this Mamoswine, so I go back into my Rape. He ends up going for the Ice Shard, so that's neutral against Rape, but it's not super effective, and Rape's a pretty bulky piece of crap, so it doesn't end up doing too much. But anyway, looking at my health, I think, you know what, even if I go for the Leech Sheet, I think Earthquake's going to 2-hit KO at this point, so I decide just to try to kill this Mamoswine with Gyro Ball, and which is super effective on Mamoswine, and Mamoswine's faster enough than Ferrothorn that it would KO. And anyway, he goes for the Earthquake. As you can see, I probably wouldn't have been able to live 2, and he does die to the Gyro Ball, so that was a pretty nice play for me. So Rape is, yeah, just killed that guy. Good job, Rape, raping that Mamoswine. Ew. Anyway, so yeah, he has this Medicham thing, which is like freaking super powerful because of its pure power ability. And I don't see a Life Orb or Leftover, so I'm assuming this thing is like Scarfed or something. So I go out into my own Nidoking because I resist the high jump kick, and that's pretty nice. I'm going to go for the Earth Power because it's, you know, sheer force Nidoking. His 3 remaining guys are all neutral to Earth Power and Earth Power stabbed, so I just go for the strongest move. He goes out into Vaporeon, and, you know, it's neutral, so it's going to be a 2-hit KO, so that's pretty nice for me. And he only has 2 Pokemon left, Medicham and his own Ferrothorn. And I know I can take care of Ferrothorn with my Nidoking. So, yeah, I go out into Virus, basically because I think Virus is kind of like Death Fodder at this point. He's kind of too weak to even set up a Recover, so, yeah, no matter what he really goes into, it's probably going to kill. He goes for the Ice Punch, and that doesn't kill me out because, you know, it's not super effective. He ends up getting the freeze, but that doesn't actually matter because he's faster anyway, because, yeah, he's Scarfed, I'm fairly certain. So anyway, I go out into Maniac because I'm Scarfed too, and Flygon is faster than Medicham. So I go for an Earthquake, thinking I'd KO because Medicham really isn't bulky at all, and it's stabbed, but I don't. And I'm like, oh wow, Flygon, thanks for being useless. Like, Maniac in the game, though, he's useless pretty in most of the late games because he always dies because he's way too aggressive. But that's a side note. Okay, so I go out into Jolteon, which I named Bunny after my friend Bunny, Joltsbolt, and, yeah, I was just kind of hoping I'd live an Ice Punch, and I do, because it's not super effective, and, you know, it's not even that really powerful a move, even after pure power. So I do survive, go for the Volt Switch, and then Volt Switch into Nidoking, knowing his only guy he has left is Ferrothorn, and I have the Sheer Force Flamethrower, and obviously that will KO. And if it didn't, then basically anything from Specs Jolteon would KO, because that was a Specs Jolteon. So yeah, good game, tuperiu5. It was fun. And we'll have to do it again sometime. Make sure you check out his channel. It's linked in the description. He's a great battler, and he's a really cool guy. He's really funny, actually, because if you take a look at some of his other videos that aren't like Pokemon battles, they're all pretty hilarious. Even the ones that are making fun of me. But anyway, so yeah, today's question of the day has to do with Pokemon communities. What is your favorite Pokemon website/community? As for me, I would have to say, well, Pojo was. Pojo was like this gem community back in the day where, you know, it was just a great fun. I mean, everyone was so close. You knew everybody in the community, and, you know, things happened, and drama, and it was just a great community to be a part of. It kind of got ruined by mods and later on, and it just kind of died, but I did love Pojo. I'm not really a member of any other Pokemon community per se. I mean, I have accounts on Cerebi, Smogon, and I think Poke Community too. But yeah, I'm not really a member of anything. I don't really post regularly. But some of you might have a Pokemon community. I guess my Pokemon community is YouTube. There you go. YouTube is my Pokemon community. And TPX. I go on that chat and talk to people a little bit anyway. Anyway, so leave a comment about what your favorite community or website is. There's a lot of good options. Obviously, I mentioned Smogon, I mentioned Cerebi, I mentioned Poke Community and Maryland and all that other, you know, stuff. But, yeah, leave that comment, and see you guys next time. And I've reached 400 battles, but I might not post in a while because I do end up starting my job tomorrow. Yeah, so I probably won't be end up posting too much, except for maybe the weekends, although not this weekend. But that's okay, I'm rambling. Alright, peace out, homies.